Last week, Entertainment Weekly released an article describing new details about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So this is going to be the first installment of a mini-series about this article and breaking it down. And this is going to be the history of Black Spire Outpost.
Your attention, please.
What is shaking, everyone? Welcome back. One of the biggest Disney topics lately has been about this new Entertainment Weekly article that is outlining new information about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And it seems like people are breaking down, other YouTubers are breaking down the ride stuff, the queue information, the ride details, the merchandise, the food. But there's a big portion here that isn't being covered, and that is the history. So we're going to break down, on this article, we're going to break down the history of Black Spire Outpost and give some more information about the land and kind of just set up the story, set up the narrative going forward for Black Spire Outpost. But before we continue, be sure to follow us over on Instagram at Disneydna, where we post pictures and videos every single day of Disneyland, Disney World, and all things Disney. So the first piece of detailed information about Black Spire Outpost is that this is going to be an expansion of the Star Wars universe. This is part of the galactic timeline. So Black Spire Outpost is basically Earth's, or our real world's, Route 66. Passed over by time, passed over by modern travels. So if you compare that to Route 66, modern freeways have passed over many of the small towns along Route 66. Much like Black Spire Outpost has been passed over by time warps, light speed, that kind of thing, so it's kind of fallen by the wayside. Really quick, just to get a time frame of when these activities that are happening on Black Spire Outpost or on Batuu, this is taking place somewhere in between Episode 8 and this December's upcoming Episode 9. So it's somewhere between The Last Jedi and the new film is when all of these activities are happening. So the planet of Batuu, where Black Spire Outpost is located, as I mentioned, has fallen by the wayside. And Disney Imagineers are trying to show the story that it has kind of been left in ruins. So let's take a look at this quote really quick. Now this is from the managing story editor with Walt Disney Imagineering, Margaret Carrison. We want to give the impression that this planet has always been around, and that we're coming into it as travelers for the first time on Batuu. There are layers and layers of history, and all of these characters, familiar and new, who have come and gone to this planet. So to me, this sounds like there could be relics, there could be footnotes and footsteps that we might recognize. Now, in another video, we will outline more of these intricate details about the rides, but there will be footprints of R2-D2, C-3PO, possibly Chewie. There's little details that we're going to be able to connect to the characters we love and know into this new land. Now, in this article, we found that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is going to be split in two, basically a First Order side and a Resistance side. So in the First Order side, there is a group of stormtroopers, or an infantry squad. The 79th Infantry Squad, the Red Fury, are going to be walking around controlling this area of the land. Now this elite task force of stormtroopers will be arriving on the new TIE Echelon, which is very similar to Darth Vader's and Kylo Ren's. It's kind of like a hybrid of the two, where it's really pointy, really kind of triangular shaped, but it has the curved sides of Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. There will be one of these TIE Echelons in the First Order section of Black Spire Outpost, which to my knowledge, or to what I can see, it is going to be on the Fantasyland, where the Fantasyland entrance is into Galaxy's Edge. So now back to a little more of the backstory to Black Spire Outpost. Let's look at this quote here from the same Imagineer, Margaret Carrison. Could these have been these tall, towering trees from hundreds of thousands of years ago, and could they have eroded and petrified over time into rock? What if one of these spires was really special? It's in the middle of the outpost, and that's how Black Spire Outpost got its name, because it was darker than all the rest. Everyone has different theories of what it is, so there isn't one answer because it happened so long ago. We were inspired by a lot of the mysteries that we have on Earth that we don't have the answers to. So I like this, giving it a mysterious feel, an urban legend type feel. Black Spire, this one right here in this picture, is kind of our Stonehenge. People don't know about it, don't know how it got there. They don't know if it's a religious thing. There's no real story, except for theories and stories themselves. So this idea leaves guests open to the possibility of creating their own theories and why this Black Spire might hold some mystical power or mystical presence. So the article kind of moves from right to left if you're looking at it from, let's say, Big Thunder Mountain. So on the Fantasyland entrance, you have the First Order area. Then you have the Black Spire Outpost itself, where the Black Spire is. And now we're going to move over to the Resistance side, where Rise of the Resistance, the Battle Escape, whatever you want to call it, that area of Black Spire Outpost. So now I'm not going to dive into too many details about the Resistance area because a lot of it has to do with Rise of the Resistance itself, and that's going to be a whole separate video in, like I said, this small series. Now, some of the information I will tell you is that there will be a blue X-Wing parked out in front of the Rise of the Resistance building. Now, this is going to be the area known as Batu's Tranquil Sarabat River Basin. This is going to be where first civilization that came to Batuu or came to Black Spire Outpost kind of set up. So this is going to be your ruin, your glimpse into the past of Black Spire Outpost and Batuu itself. Now in this area there will be caves, which will be the entrance to Rise of the Resistance. So again, I don't want to dive too far into that, but it's going to be basically like an ancient civilization that we have here on Earth, where they lived in the rocks, they lived in the caves, and they set up a home. They set up a little village inside of these caves. So that is definitely something to look forward to, and again, we will outline this in a future, very soon upcoming video. So just a couple more points before we wrap this up. Cast members are going to be part of this experience. They're going to be part of this show. They're going to be citizens of Black Spire Outpost. Some are going to be dressed as First Order supporters. Some are going to be part of the Resistance. Now, that can switch up. You could have a First Order member, a First Order cast member, secretively helping the Resistance and vice versa. They're going to have their own opinions. Disney is leaving them the option on how immersive they want to be and creating their own storylines, their own backgrounds as to why they are there on Black Spire Outpost. Now Disney is putting these cast members through training, essentially training, to be able to work in this land. They're making them re-watch Star Wars, or if you haven't seen Star Wars, watch them to understand the narrative, because you're going to have people, you're going to have guests that are super immersed and know everything about Star Wars. Then you're going to have the novice ones that don't know very much, like Ashley. She doesn't know a whole lot about Star Wars. She's watched them, but she's not as in depth. Her knowledge isn't as big as, let's say, mine or others. So Disney's putting them through like a boot camp, essentially, and they're leaving it open, like I said, to create their own storylines. Now, Disney did pump the brakes on some people because they were getting a little too nutty, and some were going as far as saying, oh, I'm Han Solo's second cousin removes brother. They didn't want that. They just wanted your own opinions, your own views, you know, so you could have a conversation with any kind of guest, with any knowledge that guest might have. You can have a conversation with them and, again, create that immersive environment. So my last little point from this article is that it was mentioned that this Black Spire Outpost, this Galaxy's Edge, might make its way into other publications of Star Wars. So from comic books, movies, possibly films, they can make a movie about Black Spire Outpost. Now, it was mentioned in Solo, the Han Solo movie. It was mentioned quickly and briefly about Black Spire Outpost. It was mentioned in one line. So it's already been included into the Star Wars universe. So it's out there. It's not just a land and now they're trying to incorporate it. It has been mentioned before. So we could possibly, almost definitely, eventually see a movie based on Black Spire Outpost, which I think would be really cool. So that's going to do it for today. Make sure to stay tuned, because upcoming we are going to outline the new details released for the queue of Rise of the Resistance and the queue for the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction. So if you haven't done so already, give this video a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when other videos like this and other park adventure videos are uploaded. As always, if you're at any of the Disney parks, tell Mickey and Minnie I say hi. And I'm super excited that this is opening in June. So I will see you all a little later.